Welcome back to Two Voices English. I'm Mia, and today we are talking about us. Well, not just us, but how you can talk about yourself without sounding like a boring robot.
And I'm Leo. Usually when someone says, "Tell me about yourself," I just forget my own name and where I live. It's a nightmare.
It's not that scary, Leo. It's the most common topic in English. Whether you're at a party or a job interview, you need to know how to introduce yourself. So, Leo, let's start simple. Who are you?
Well, I'm Leo. I'm human, I think. I live in a small apartment with too many books and a cat that thinks he's the boss.
That's a good start. See, you mentioned your name, your living situation, and a little personal detail, the cat. For our listeners, when you talk about yourself, start with the basics, your name, your age, if you want, and where you are from.
Right. For example, I'm from London, but I've been living in Madrid for 3 years. It's simple, but it gives the other person something to ask about. Oh, why did you move? Or do you like the weather there?
Exactly. And don't just say, I am 25. Say, I'm in my mid-20s, or I just turned 30. It sounds more natural. Leo, how would you describe your vibe?
My vibe. I'm like a Sunday morning. A bit slow, needs coffee, but generally friendly if you don't make loud noises.
I love that. I'm definitely a Monday morning. Lots of energy, talking way too fast, and probably planning 3 different things at once.
We are opposites, but that's why this podcast works.
True. Now, when you talk about yourself, it's also important to mention what you do, but not just your job title. Give it some life. Instead of saying, I am a teacher, you could say, I spend my days trying to explain grammar to teenagers.
Or instead of "I am a programmer," you could say, "I write code and drink way too much soda while staring at a screen." It makes you sound like a real person, not a resume.
Precisely. Humor is your best friend when you're nervous. If you make a mistake in English while introducing yourself, just laugh. Say, sorry, my brain is still in sleep mode today.
My brain is always in sleep mode, Mia. That's my secret.
We know, Leo, we know. Okay, so we've got the basics down. Name, location, and a little bit of personality. But what happens when the conversation goes deeper?
That's when things get interesting, because who are you isn't just about your name. It's about what makes you you, like my obsession with vintage watches.
Or my obsession with sourdough bread that never actually rises correctly.
We all have our struggles. The point is, talking about yourself is just telling a story, your story, and you are the expert on that topic.
Well said. So, listeners, take a deep breath. You know your name, you know where you live, you're already halfway there.
Speaking of being an expert on yourself, Mia, let's talk about the most common question after "What's your name?" It's the classic, "What do you do in your free time?"
I hate that question if I'm having a lazy week. If someone asks me that on a Saturday while I'm on my 3rd hour of watching cat videos, I feel so judged.
Exactly. You feel like you need to say something impressive like, "I climb mountains," or "I'm learning to play the harp." But usually the truth is just, "I like snacks and naps."
But in English, there are so many cool ways to talk about your hobbies without sounding boring. Instead of just saying, I like, you can say, I'm really into, or I'm a big fan of.
Good point. I'm really into collecting old vinyl records. It sounds much more passionate than "I like music."
And it gives the other person a hook. They can ask, oh, what's your favorite record? Or do you have a record player? It keeps the conversation alive.
What about things you don't like? Because that's part of who you are too.
True. You can say, I'm not really a big fan of, or it's not really my thing. For me, hiking is not really my thing. Too many bugs, too much sweating. I'm more of an indoor person.
I'm the same. My idea of an outdoor activity is sitting on a balcony with a coffee. But when you're talking about yourself, sharing what you don't like can actually be a great way to find people who agree with you.
Oh, you hate loud clubs too? Let's be friends.
Exactly. It's an instant bond. But Mia, what if someone has a really weird hobby? Like, I don't know, counting cars?
Even better, weird hobbies are conversation gold. I have a bit of an unusual hobby is a great sentence starter. It makes people lean in because they want to know what it is.
So for our listeners, think about one thing you love and one thing well, it's not your thing.
For example, I'm a big fan of spicy food, but running marathons is definitely not my thing.
Perfect. Simple, clear, and very you.
Now, hobbies are great, but sometimes people ask about your passion. That's a heavy word, isn't it?
It sounds so serious, like I need to have a life goal written in fire.
It doesn't have to be. A passion can just be something that makes you lose track of time. For me, it's gardening, even if half my plants look like they're protesting.
My passion is definitely finding the perfect cup of coffee. I can travel across the city just for a good latte.
See, that tells me so much about you. You're patient, you appreciate quality, and you're probably a bit caffeine addicted.
Guilty as charged.
Okay, Leo, we've covered hobbies and the basics, but there's one question that always comes up, and it can be surprisingly tricky. Where are you from?
Oh, I love this one, because I can give a different answer depending on how much I want to talk. If I'm tired, I just say London. Done.
But what if you want to be more interesting? In English, we have some great idioms for this. You can say, I was born and raised in.
Right. Like, I was born and raised in London, but my heart belongs to the seaside. That sounds almost poetic, doesn't it?
Very poetic, Leo. You're a secret poet. For me, I'd say, I'm originally from a small town, but I've been a city girl for 10 years now.
Originally from is a very useful phrase, especially for people who have moved around a lot. Some people are digital nomads. They don't really have one place.
True. If you've lived in 5 different countries, where are you from is a long story. You can say, it's a bit complicated. I've lived all over the place.
All over the place. I like that. It makes you sound like an international spy.
Or just someone who can't decide where to live. But talking about your roots, your family, and where you grew up is a huge part of talking about yourself.
It is. People often ask, do you come from a big family?
And if you say, yes, I have 5 siblings, the next question is always, are you the oldest, the youngest, or the middle child?
I'm the middle child, the invisible one. That explains a lot about my personality, doesn't it?
It really does, Leo. It really does. I'm an only child, which is why I talk so much. I had to entertain myself for years.
That explains the talking speed. But seriously, using these terms, middle child, only child, the baby of the family, adds so much flavor to your introduction.
Exactly. Instead of a list of facts, you're giving people a window into your life. You're telling them why you are the way you are.
And what about your hometown? Even if it's a tiny village with 1 shop and 3 cows, you can make it sound interesting.
It's a quiet place where everyone knows everyone's business.
Or it's a hidden gem in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, that's a classic English expression. It means a place far away from any big city.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere. The most exciting thing that happened was a tractor driving by.
Hey, tractors are cool. The point is, your background is part of your identity. Don't be afraid to share those little details.
Unless you actually are an international spy, then maybe keep the details to yourself.
Good point, Leo. Good point.
Okay, Mia. We know where we're from and what we do for fun, but now we have to talk about the thing we spend most of our time doing. Work. Or, for some of our listeners, studying.
The dreaded question. So, what do? It's usually the moment people start sounding like they're reading their LinkedIn profile. I am responsible for the optimization of cross-platform synergy.
Oh. Sorry, I fell asleep just listening to that. Please never say that at a party.
Exactly. When you talk about your job or your studies, the goal is to be relatable. Instead of just your job title, tell us the action. If you're a student, don't just say, I study economics. Say, I'm currently buried under textbooks, trying to understand how the world's money works.
I like that. It sounds active. I usually say, I'm in the creative industry, which is just a fancy way of saying I sit in cafes with my laptop and look stressed.
That's a great conversation starter. People will ask, what kind of creative stuff? If you're looking for a job, you can say, I'm between jobs at the moment, or I'm transitioning into a new career path. It sounds much more positive than I'm unemployed.
Transitioning, that's a powerful word. It sounds like I'm a butterfly coming out of a cocoon.
You are a very caffeinated butterfly, Leo. And what about if you hate your job? You can still talk about it gracefully. You can say, it's a bit of a challenge at the moment, or it keeps me busy, but I'm looking for more creative outlets.
Or you can talk about your dream job. That's a huge part of who you are. Right now, I work in an office, but in my head, I'm a world-class chef.
I love that. In my head, I'm is such a fun way to share your ambitions. It shows you have goals. Speaking of goals, how do you talk about what you're learning?
Well, for our listeners, they're learning English. That's a huge part of their identity right now.
True. You can say, I'm working on my English skills because I want to travel the world, or I'm a lifelong learner. That phrase, lifelong learner, always sounds impressive.
It makes you sound very wise, like a wizard, but without the hat.
No hat required. So, whether you're a manager, a barista, a student, or a stay at home parent, remember, you are not just your title. You are the person doing the thing.
And if you really don't want to talk about work, you can always say, I try not to take my work home with me. I'd rather talk about that sourdough bread you're making, Mia.
Nice pivot, Leo. That's a pro move.
Speaking of sourdough bread and big ambitions, Mia, where is all of this going? When we talk about ourselves, we usually talk about the past or the present. But what about the future?
Oh, I love talking about the future. It's much more exciting than talking about my failed gardening projects. In English, when you want to sound motivated, you can use the phrase, I'm looking forward to.
That's the classic. I'm looking forward to traveling to Japan, or I'm looking forward to finally finishing this book. It shows you have a spark.
Exactly. And then there's the bucket list.
Wait, a list of buckets? Like for cleaning the floor?
No, Leo. A bucket list is a list of things you want to do before you, well, kick the bucket, which is a funny way of saying die.
Oh, so it's a to-do list for life. That's much more interesting. On my bucket list, I have see the northern lights and learn to cook a meal that doesn't involve a microwave.
Those are great goals. For our listeners, sharing your bucket list is a fantastic way to let people know what you value. If you say, I've always wanted to learn how to skydive, it tells me you're adventurous.
And if I say, I've always wanted to own a professional-grade espresso machine, it tells you...
That you really, really like coffee. We got it, Leo.
Guilty. But what if your dreams are small? Is that okay to talk about?
Of course, not everyone wants to climb Mount Everest. You can say, I'm working towards a more balanced life, or my goal for this year is to read 12 books. Small goals are still goals.
I like using the phrase, I'm aiming to. It sounds like I'm an archer hitting a target. I'm aiming to improve my English so I can watch movies without subtitles.
That's a perfect one for our listeners. It's specific and relatable. Another good one is, one day I hope to... It's a bit more dreamy. One day I hope to live in a house by the sea.
One day I hope to have a cat that actually listens to me.
Good luck with that one, Leo. Cats don't have listening to humans on their bucket lists.
True, their list is just 1, sleep, 2, eat, 3, knock things off the table.
So whether it's a big career move or just learning a new recipe, talking about your dreams makes you sound like a person with a vision. It's the future version of you.
And it's much more fun to talk about the weather.
Totally. So Leo, what's the very next thing on your list?
Honestly, finding out what kind of person you are when you're not talking about work or dreams. Like, what makes you tick?
Oh, getting deep. I like it.
So, Mia, you asked me earlier what makes me tick, and I've been thinking about it. I think the biggest part of my personality is that I am a total night owl.
Oh, I knew it. I could tell by the dark circles under your eyes and the way you look at the sun like it's your personal enemy.
It's true. My brain doesn't actually start working until 10 p.m. That's when I get my best ideas. But you're the opposite, right?
I am a proud early bird. I'm the person who wakes up at 6 a.m., goes for a run, has a green smoothie, and has already answered 20 emails before you've even found your slippers.
That sounds exhausting. But see, this is a great way for our listeners to describe themselves. Are you an early bird or a night owl? Or maybe you're a people person.
A people person. That's a good one. It means you get energy from being around others. I definitely am. I love a good chat.
I'm more of a homebody. I love people, but after 2 hours of socializing, I need to go home and stare at a wall in silence for a while to recharge.
There's a word for that. You're an introvert, and I'm an extrovert. But many people are ambiverts, a mix of both.
I think I'm an introvert who has been drinking too much coffee, so I pretend to be an extrovert.
That's a very specific personality type, Leo. We should add that to the textbooks. Another thing people often ask about is whether you're organized or messy.
Oh, I'm organized chaos. My desk looks like a hurricane hit a paper factory, but I know exactly where everything is.
I'm the neat freak. If a pen is slightly crooked on my desk, I can't focus. I need everything in its right place.
It's funny how these little traits make us who we are. When you talk about yourself, don't just say, I am nice. Everyone is nice. Say something specific. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, or I'm very easygoing.
Easygoing is a great one. It means you don't get stressed easily. Unlike me, I'm a bit of a worrywart. I worry about things that haven't even happened yet.
Don't worry, Mia. I'm easygoing enough for both of us.
Thanks, Leo. I feel better already. So, to our listeners, are you the life of the party or the quiet observer? Are you spontaneous or do you need a plan?
Use these labels. They're like salt and pepper. They make your English much more flavorful.
Exactly. And speaking of flavor, what about the things we're actually good at, our strengths?
That's always the hardest part to talk about without sounding like you're bragging.
You know, Leo, we just finished talking about being a night owl or a neat freak, but there is one thing that makes everyone, and I mean everyone, nervous when talking about themselves.
Let me guess. Is it the "what are your strengths" question? Because every time someone asks me that, I suddenly feel like I have never achieved anything in my entire life. I'm like, I can eat a whole pizza by myself? Is that a strength?
Well, that is an impressive skill, Leo. It might not be the kind of strength people are looking for. In English, talking about your strengths is an art. We call it the humble brag. You want to sound confident, but not like you think you're a superhero.
Right, so I shouldn't say, I am the smartest person in every room I enter.
Definitely not, unless you want to be the only person in the room very quickly. Instead, use phrases like, I pride myself on, or I've always been told that I'm. This way, you're sharing a fact, not just your own opinion.
Oh, I see. So I could say, I pride myself on my ability to stay calm under pressure. Or, I've always been told that I'm a great listener. That sounds way better. It feels like I'm giving credit to the people who noticed it.
Exactly. And what about soft skills? These are huge when you're describing yourself. Words like reliable, problem solver, or team player.
I like problem solver, but usually the problem I'm solving is how to get the Wi-Fi working again. Does that count?
It's a start, but think bigger. A problem solver is someone who doesn't give up when things get difficult. For our listeners, learning English makes them huge problem solvers. They are literally learning a new way to communicate. That is a massive strength.
That's a great point. I am a determined learner. That sounds powerful. But Mia, we can't just talk about the good stuff. What about the weaknesses, the I'm not so good at this part?
That's the trickiest part of talking about yourself. You want to be honest, but you don't want to sound like a disaster. The secret is to talk about a weakness that you are actively working on.
Ah, the classic I'm too much of a perfectionist trick.
No, everyone uses that one. It's a bit of a cliche. Try something real. For example, I sometimes struggle with time management, so I've started using a digital planner to stay on track.
Oh, I like that. It shows you're self-aware and proactive. I would say, I used to be quite shy when speaking in public, but I've been practicing by recording myself and, of course, doing this podcast with you.
Perfect, Leo. You turned a weakness into a story of growth. That's exactly what people want to hear. It makes you sound human and relatable.
So it's not just about what you can do, it's about how you're getting better.
Precisely. We are all works in progress. When you talk about yourself, don't be afraid to show the progress part. It's much more interesting than a perfect person.
Well, I'm definitely a work in progress. Mostly the progress part involves me trying to remember where I put my keys every morning.
Maybe organized isn't on your strength list yet, Leo, but humorous definitely is.
I'll take it. So listeners, what's your superpower? Are you the person who keeps everyone laughing, or the one who gets things done? Think about it, and don't be afraid to own it.
You know what I've realized, Leo? We've spent a lot of time talking about facts, where we live, what we do, what we like, but facts can be a bit, well, dry, like eating a sandwich with no filling. People don't really connect with facts, they connect with stories.
I totally agree. If you tell me, I like dogs, I say, cool, me too. End of conversation. Total silence, very awkward. But if you tell me a story about how your dog once tried to mail itself to Hawaii in a cardboard box, now that is a conversation.
Did your dog actually do that?
No, but he did once try to eat my tax returns. My excuse to the government was literally, the dog ate my homework. They didn't believe me.
See, that's a fun fact. In English, when you're introducing yourself in a group, people often say, "Tell us one fun fact about yourself." And everyone panics. They think, "I am the most boring person on earth. I have no fun facts. I just breathe and drink water."
That's exactly how I feel. I usually end up saying something like, I can move my ears, and then I have to demonstrate it, and it's just weird for everyone involved.
But a fun fact doesn't have to be a talent, Leo. It can be a claim to fame, like if you once met a celebrity, or a hidden passion. To start these stories, we use great phrases like, believe it or not, or funny you should ask, or the classic, long story short.
Long story short is my favorite, because it usually means the story is actually going to be very long, but I'm pretending to be brief.
Exactly. For example, I could say, believe it or not, I used to be a semi-professional chess player when I was 12. Long story short, I lost a big match to a 7-year-old and decided to retire forever.
That's a perfect introduction. It's funny, it's self-deprecating, which means you're making fun of yourself, and it makes me want to ask you more questions, like, how good was that 7-year-old?
He was a genius, Leo. It was traumatizing. But the point for our listeners is don't be afraid to share your fails. In English culture especially, being able to laugh at yourself is a huge social plus. It makes you seem confident and approachable.
That's a good tip. Instead of trying to sound like a winner all the time, share a relatable fail, like the time I tried to use a map in Paris and ended up in a bakery 3 miles away from the Eiffel Tower.
But you got croissants, right?
Oh, the best croissants of my life.
Then it wasn't a fail. It was a happy accident. Another great way to talk about yourself is to use the phrase, I'm the kind of person who. This sets a scene. For example, I'm the kind of person who reads the last page of a book first because I can't handle the suspense.
Oh, you're one of those people. I'm the kind of person who buys a gym membership in January, goes exactly once to look at the machines, and then never returns but continues to pay for it for 3 years.
We call that donating to the gym, Leo. You're very charitable. But do you see how these sentences, I'm the kind of person who, give such a clear picture of our personalities? It's much better than just saying, I am impatient or I am lazy.
It really is. It adds color. It's like moving from a black and white photo to a 4K movie. And for English learners, these phrases are like sentence starters. They give you a structure so you don't have to worry about the grammar as much.
Precisely. You have the shell of the sentence and you just drop your own life into it.
Believe it or not, I've never seen a Star Wars movie. Funny you should ask, I actually have a collection of vintage spoons.
Vintage spoons? Really?
No, Leo, that was an example. I'm not that weird.
Hey, no judgment here. I told you about my ears.
True. So, listeners, think about your fun fact. What is that one story you tell at dinner parties? How can you say it in English? Remember, start with a hook, keep it moving, and don't be afraid to be the hero or the clown of your own story.
Because at the end of the day, talking about yourself isn't about giving a report. It's about making a friend.
Well said, Leo. And speaking of making friends, how do we wrap all of this up? How do we take everything we've talked about, the past, the present, the dreams, and the spoons, and turn it into a great final impression?
That is the big finale.
Well, Leo, we've done it. We have traveled through the past, the present, the future, and even discussed your strangely movable ears. I feel like I know you better than I know myself at this point.
I'm exhausted, Mia. Talking about myself for this long is the hardest workout I've done all year. My brain is definitely out of battery mode. But you're right, we've covered a lot. From the basics of who am I, to the complex art of the humble brag and telling funny stories about tax-eating dogs.
It's been a journey. But listeners, there is one final thing we need to talk about before we let you go, and it's the most important ingredient in the whole talking about yourself recipe. Can you guess what it is, Leo?
Is it more coffee?
No, although for you, it usually is. It's confidence. You see, you can have the perfect grammar, the best vocabulary, and a bucket list that sounds like an Indiana Jones movie. But if you don't believe in what you're saying, people won't connect with you.
That's so true. I've met people who speak perfect English, but they're so nervous about making a mistake that they sound like they're reading a grocery list. And I've met people who only know 50 words of English, but they use them with such energy and a big smile that I want to talk to them for hours.
Exactly. When you talk about yourself, remember, you are the only you in the world. That makes you an expert. No one can tell you that you're wrong about your own life. If you say you love vintage spoons, then you love vintage spoons. Own it.
Own it. I like that. It means to be proud of who you are. So, for our listeners who are practicing, don't wait for your English to be perfect before you start sharing your story. Start today. Start with a simple sentence.
And here's a pro tip. Practice in the mirror. I know, it sounds crazy. You'll feel like a weirdo. But looking at yourself and saying, "Hi, I'm Mia, and I'm a recovered chess addict," helps your brain get comfortable with the words.
Or record yourself on your phone. Listen back to it. You'll realize that you sound much better than you think you do. We are always our own worst critics.
We really are. Now, Leo, speaking of talking about ourselves, we've been so busy talking to each other that we almost forgot the most important people in this room.
The people in the room? Mia, it's just us and my cat. And he's currently asleep on a pile of my laundry.
No, Leo, the listeners, the thousands of people joining us on the Two Voices English podcast.
Oh, right. Of course. Hello, everyone. We are so glad you're here.
And because we want to keep making these podcasts, and because we want to help you talk about yourself in even more creative ways, we need a little favor.
A favor? Like, can they bring me a donut?
No, although for you it usually is. It's maybe one day. But for now, if you enjoyed this 9-part series, if Mia and Leo made you laugh or helped you feel a bit more confident, please, and I'm using my serious teacher voice here, smash that like button.
Yes, smash it. Don't just click it, show it some love. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. It's the red button that makes us very, very happy. When you subscribe, it tells YouTube that Mia and Leo aren't just two people talking into microphones in their pajamas. It tells them we're a community.
A community of learners. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a conversation. We have so many more topics coming up. Travel, food, dating, job interviews, you name it.
And hey, let's make this interactive. Go down to the comments section right now. Yes, right now. Tell us one thing about yourself. Use one of the phrases we learned. Believe it or not. I'm the kind of person who, or just tell us your fun fact. Mia and I promise to read them.
We really will. I want to hear about your sourdough bread, your mountain climbing, or your weird collections. Let's turn the comment section into a giant party of introductions.
I'm going there right now to see if anyone else has a dog that eats paperwork. I can't be the only one.
I'm sure you're not, Leo. Well, that's it for our Talking About Yourself series. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and most importantly, thank you for being you.
Keep practicing, keep drinking coffee or tea if you're like Mia, and we will see you in the next episode.
Stay confident, stay curious.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.